Hey everyone, me again. Today I'm filming something really fun. I'm doing the makeup addiction tag. So I was tagged twice. First time I was tagged by Shannon from Pages and Polish. Second time I was tagged by my friend Andrea from Je suis juste moi, which I know I'm pronouncing wrong. I'll leave the links to both of their channels in the description box below. I don't normally do tags, but this one spoke to me on a very personal level. I'm sure you can imagine why. So I thought I'd answer the questions while throwing on some makeup so you can see how I got this peachy, summery makeup look. I think that's everything. Let's get to the video. I'm having one of those days where I really cannot wait to get some makeup on my face, so I'm just going to get started. First of all, I'm using the Revolution baking oil. This is an absolute favourite of mine at the moment to use as a primer. I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but I've only got about this much of it left at the moment. I did buy a new one in my most recent haul, so I'm not going to run out anytime soon, but still. So I've just got a couple of drops on my hands, rubbing my fingers together, and I just start to pat it where my skin is dry. You'd have thought that my skin wouldn't be so dry because it's summer at the moment, but nope. Now I'm just going to go in with a little bit of colour corrector. I don't always do this on a day-to-day basis, but as I'm filming, I just want my skin to look as perfected as possible. So I'm using the Revolution Ultra Base Corrector palette. I think this is on sale at the moment, so if there's still some available on the Revolution website, I'll link that in the description box below. I'm just going to take a bit of the peach shade here and put this underneath my eyes. So the first question is, how long have you been addicted to makeup? It probably started when I was in university. So for those of you who don't know, I spent 6 years in art school studying photography. And during that time, I really wanted to do portraiture, but I couldn't afford to hire a model. So instead, I took a lot of photographs of myself because I was there and I was free. I'm just going to take a bit of this green shade and put it on areas of redness. So yeah, I was taking photographs of myself, and when I came to editing them, I noticed that I had quite a lot of skin redness. So I've always known that I had an issue with skin redness, but it was taking me so long to edit it out that I thought maybe if I started wearing, you know, more makeup, then it wouldn't take me so long to edit my photographs. So that's when I started watching makeup tutorials on the internet. From there, after I started watching tutorials, I started watching just people, just normal people, talking about makeup they were buying and how much they were loving it. I think the first beauty channel I was subscribed to was probably Essie Button, and then I started watching more and more people like her, Fleur de Force, Pixie Woo, you know, people like that. And after that, it stopped being something that I was doing, you know, just for my photography, and I started to get really into it. So I was about 21 at this point, and before then I'd sometimes experimented with a bit of makeup, maybe a little bit of foundation, sometimes I'd wear mascara, but that was kind of about it. But yeah, when I was at university in my early 20s, that's when I really started to become addicted to buying makeup. And even though I didn't have a massive amount of money at the time because I was a student, I still really loved buying makeup, and I would buy as much of it as I could with the little money that I had. That's why I still talk about drugstore makeup even to this day, because I just remember what it's like to not be able to afford a lot of high-end stuff, and that kind of alienation that I felt when I was watching a lot of people talking about really expensive products that I couldn't get. For foundation, I'm going to be using the L'Oreal Infallible Longwear Shaping Stick. I have the shades 80 and 100. I usually mix the two together. I'm just going to put on a little bit today because it is quite hot and I don't want to have too much on my base. So this is the shade 100. I'm going to start off with this one and use the shade 80 just to highlight some areas. The next question in the tag is, what makeup are you most addicted to buying? For a while, this was definitely foundation. Like I said before, I had a lot of issues with skin redness. I still do. I don't know why I said that in past tense. That was always the thing that I was most self-conscious about, so I was trying out quite a lot of foundations. And then when I eventually started a YouTube channel, when I was about 24 or 25, I noticed that foundation reviews on the internet actually did quite well in terms of views and stuff, so that didn't help the addiction, so I kept buying more and more foundations. Recently I've stopped doing that just because I think I'm more into stick foundations and there just aren't as many of them on the market, so I'm just going to put on a little bit more of this. But the other thing is that foundations definitely expire, and they expire very quickly. So I do declutters every like maybe once or twice a year, and I noticed that I was throwing away some foundations that I'd barely touched, and it's just so wasteful. So I think now the thing I buy the most is absolutely eyeshadow palettes. Question number 3 is how many of this product do you have? And I actually had to have a little bit of a count in my makeup drawers just to make sure. I estimated that I had about a dozen to 2 dozen foundations. I have maybe just over 2 dozen. I thought I had maybe like 30 or 40 eyeshadow palettes. It's more like, I think 40 to 50. I haven't counted exactly because there's just so many and they're all over my room, but I think it is more like 40 to 50. So yeah, it is kind of ridiculous. I think most of that is Makeup Revolution's fault, if I'm being honest. So I've just been buying so many over the last few years, and obviously they don't really expire in the same way that foundations do. I'm sure they will go bad eventually, but it takes a much longer time. So some of them I've had for years. So just keep that in mind before you judge me. I think the shade 100 actually matches me really well at the moment because it's the summer. So I'm going to leave it like that for the time being, but after I've done my eyes, I will probably come back to the foundation and maybe build it up a little bit more. I'm going to do my eyebrows next. I've got the Revolution Brow Pomade, and this is the shade Blonde, and I'm using the e.l.f. Eyebrow Brush Duo. Normally I'd just use a eyebrow pencil on an everyday basis, but it's been a while since I've dyed them and they're looking a lot lighter today, so I think they're definitely going to need a little bit more help. Do you buy makeup just to buy it? I think we all know the answer to this one. We all know that's a massive yes. I do. I do that all the time. I very rarely buy stuff that I actually need. So the things I use up are like setting spray, eyebrow pencils, concealers, mascaras. Everything else I kind of have more than enough of at this point, and yet I still keep buying it. But yes, to answer the question, I definitely buy makeup just to buy makeup. I will go on the Superdrug website a lot in my spare time, or the Revolution website, or I look at Beauty Bay a lot, but I don't really buy anything from them. But yeah, I will just do stuff like that all the time just to have something to look at. So the short answer to that question is yes, I absolutely do. I do it all the time. I'm taking my favorite eyebrow pencil from NYX. This is their micro brow pencil in the shade Taupe, and I'm just going to use that to add a little bit more detail to my eyebrows. I'll probably put this bit on fast forward just because you've seen me fill in my eyebrows a million times. And then I'm going to set them in place using the clear mascara from Collection. Do you look at an item and have the compulsion that you just need one more to complete your collection? It's not about completing my collection because I don't really ever want my makeup collection to be completed, as crazy as that sounds. I really love buying stuff, and I love buying stuff as much as I love using the stuff, if not a little bit more. And I know that I sound crazy, but I know that some of you guys are the same as well, because my hauls get a lot of views, okay? You're just the same as me. I'm just going to prime my eyelids now, and I'm going to use the P. Louise base in 0.5. I tried this out in one of my most recent videos, either last week's or the weeks before, depending when I'm uploading this, and I'm still not 100% sure what I think of this base. I think it's just a bit different to what I'm used to, maybe, but I'm going to try it again today. I'm just using a Real Techniques concealer brush, and I'm just going to smush this all over the lid. Oh wow, that's a lot. Okay, that's too much. But let me know what you guys think. Do you collect makeup? Do you ever feel like your collection will be complete, or do you just love buying stuff like me? For eyeshadow, I'm going to be using this really beautiful palette from Revolution Pro. This is their Regeneration Unleashed palette, and you can see it's pretty much my kind of shades down to a T. There's a lot of neutrals. It's definitely for people who just aren't as adventurous with their makeup, which, you know, sometimes I can be, but most of the time I'm definitely not. I'm more of a neutrals person. There's a lot of cool tones in here. There are a few warmer shades as well though, which I think I'm going to gravitate towards today. I'm going to use the Real Techniques base shadow brush and just go in with the shade Breakup. I'm just going to run this all through the crease and on the outer corners. It's such a beautiful shade. It's a really pretty muted, warm shade. On an everyday basis, I sometimes just run this everywhere, like all over the lid, all over the crease, and I'm pretty much done. I really love how the mattes perform in this palette. They're an absolute dream to apply. They're so pigmented and they go on really, really beautifully. I'm going to take the same Real Techniques brush that I was just using, but this is a different one, so I have two of these. And I'm just dabbing into the shade Reprieve, which is a nice brown colour. I'm going to really gently create some definition with this. Just up in the crease. I'm mostly focusing this on the outer part of the eye, just to give the illusion of bigger eyes. I'm also smudging that a bit onto the lid as well. I think for today's look, I'm just going to have everything looking very soft, very blown out, very lived in. I'm just going to take a bit more of the first shade Breakup and just put that on the lid, because I don't think I do want too much shimmer today. I'm just going to take a little bit of this shade right here. That's just going on my finger, and then I'm going to really lightly tap that onto the eye, just starting at the inner corner and then going to about the middle of my lid and focusing most of the shimmer there. So you can see it doesn't make a huge difference, but I do find that it just kind of opens my eyes up a little bit. I was going to put some eyeliner on, but honestly, this room is so hot that I feel like it's just going to melt off my face. So I'm just going to skip that and put on a load of mascara instead. Before I do, I'm just going to curl my eyelashes. I'm using this heated eyelash curler that I got from AliExpress. Before I use my regular mascara, I'm going to use a bit of the Essence Volume Booster Lash Primer. It doesn't really do a huge amount, like volume-wise for me personally, but I do enjoy using it just because I'm one of those people who just always smudges their mascara everywhere. And I find that just having this as like a first base just really helps me to not do that. The next question is, do you have more than 10 mascaras and how many are open? So I did count them just for this video and oh god. And it looks like I have 10 mascaras at the moment, which is a bit of a surprise to me. Wasn't expecting it to be that many, considering that I just used the Maybelline Lash Sensational Mascara over and over and over again. Although that being said, 3 of them are unopened, so they're backups of the Maybelline mascara. They're still in their packaging. I usually buy them when they're on 3 for 2 and just stock up. And then I'm just going to use my regular Maybelline Lash Sensational Mascara over the top. While we're talking about having too many mascaras and how I need to throw away 4 of them, the next question is, do you throw makeup away? And the answer is yes, I absolutely do. I try to have a good, thorough decluttering once or twice a year, and usually I film this and put it on this channel, so you might have seen some of my previous decluttering videos. I'm definitely overdue for another declutter, and I want to do that very, very soon, like within the next couple of months. But yeah, I do want to just go through everything and at least reorganize it so that I know where everything is very, very soon, and I will definitely film it. So now that my eyes are done, I'm just going to top up my foundation a little bit where I need it. I like to finish my eye makeup before I go in and do more work on the base, and then I can see it more as a look than just my foundation on it. I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm just taking the shade 80 and I'm just putting that in the areas I want to brighten up a little. What is your oldest makeup item? Because I do tend to have regular clear outs and stuff, I don't think I have anything that's ridiculously old. Like, I don't have any sentimental makeup that I've had for decades or anything like that. I'm not that bad. I do have a Rimmel lipstick that I've had since university, so like that's a while ago, and I've held on to it because I think this particular shade has been discontinued. It might have just been renamed. Hang on, I've still got it actually. Let me just grab it for you. Ah, here it is. So it's this one. It's one of the Rimmel Kate Moss collaborations. It's the shade 19 and it looks like that. It's a really nice muted kind of pinky, hang on, why have I swatched it there? That's the worst possible place. But it's that nice kind of mid pink brown colour that I wear on my lips all the time, and I really, really love this one. So I like to use 2 concealers. I tend to use one more illuminating or creamy one that goes under the eyes, over redness, etc. And then I take a more matte, high coverage one and put that over blemishes. So my illuminating one today is from Maybelline. This is their Eraser Concealer I think it had a longer name than that, but it's worn off now. And this is in the shade 00 Ivory. And you'll notice that I've taken the sponge off. I didn't know you could do that, but then I watched Beauty News and they took the sponge off. And honestly, once I did that, I just liked this concealer so much more. Me and the sponge were not getting on. I just found it dragged my foundation all over the place and you couldn't really blend with it either. But you can just pull it right off and use it as a twist up concealer. I'm just applying that where I need it with the same sponge that I did for my foundation. If I haven't said, this sponge is from Shop AOA. Then I'm going to use the Essence Camouflage Concealer in the shade 10 just to cover up any blemishes. How often do you shop for makeup? The short answer is too often. The slightly longer answer is I'm not sure. I'm definitely going on websites like Superdrug, Revolution and Boots quite a lot, like pretty much daily, but I don't actually proceed to check out all the time. I think when I do an order big enough to film a haul video, that's probably like every month or so. Maybe that's a bit optimistic, but I want to say every month. But I do a lot of smaller orders in between, and I think that's kind of where I go wrong. So yeah, basically I don't know how to answer that apart from too often. I've got the same L'Oreal Infallible Shaping Stick in a darker shade. I'm going to use this for a cream bronzer. This is the shade 220. And I'm not going to go too overboard with this because it's quite pigmented. I just want to kind of sculpt the face and warm it up a bit because I know my concealer made me look a lot paler. I'm going to set everything in place with the Revolution Pro Skin Finish Luminescence Powder. This is technically a highlighter, but I do use it to set my face as well. It's a very brightening product and it just adds a little bit of life back into my skin when it's looking a bit dry, a little bit dehydrated, which it usually does. Do you buy any makeup just for the packaging? I mean, it certainly helps, but like it's not something that really I do a lot, if you see what I mean. So when I'm in stores like Kiko, yes, the packaging will kind of push me towards buying something, but the majority of my makeup is from, you know, cheaper brands and the packaging is a little bit more basic. So my favourite brand is Revolution, which you probably know because I talk about them all the time, and a lot of the products I've featured so far have been from Revolution, and that's the case for most of my videos really. But yeah, Revolution can keep their prices down because their packaging is just a little bit, you know, boring a lot of the time. There are some areas on my face where my redness is still peeking through a bit, so I'm just going to take the Revolution Pro Powder Foundation. This is the shade F2, and I'm just going to use a really small amount of this and just lightly tap it where I want a bit more coverage. I do really like the concept of this powder, but sometimes when I use it, it can go a little bit cakey, so I have to be very, very careful. I want my blush to be quite matte and a little natural peach colour to go with the eyeshadow. So I'm going to use this Kiko Shade Fusion Trio Blush in the shade 02. This is a long time favourite of mine. I've talked about this a few times on my channel. I'm going to use my highlighting brush from e.l.f. and mostly dip into the top two colours and just use them for the apples of my cheeks. Do I set an alarm for makeup? Nope, never done that. I don't really like buying makeup that way, to be honest. And let's be real, most of the time, because I do drugstore makeup, they don't really have launches like that. So I don't really think about things that way. Like if I was buying things by Kylie Jenner or, you know, someone like that, then I can see why people would want to set an alarm, but it's just something that I've never done personally. And I'm just going to take the shade at the bottom, the darker one, and I'm just going to use that to add a little bit of definition. This is a really nice contour shade. The highlighter, I'm using the Brunch Club highlighter from Primark. I think you can still get this. I'm pretty sure I saw it last time I was in Primark. And I'm applying that with the e.l.f. Fluffy Eye Blender brush. Do you have the Ulta and Sephora apps on your phone? We don't have Ulta and Sephora here in the UK, but I do have the Boots app on my phone, which isn't brilliant if I'm honest. Superdrug, I don't think they have an app. If they do, I don't think it's any different to their website. Usually I look at makeup on my computer rather than my actual phone as well. But no, I don't really do a lot of makeup shopping on my phone. I more look up makeup ideas on my phone and makeup looks, so I use apps like Pinterest and Instagram, and I try to get inspired, I've really been going crazy with highlighter lately. Like, you know, the milk moustache, my nose, the whole shebang. I've just been going for it. Like, in real life it looks insane, but you know, in video and in photographs it looks just incredible. That being said, I think I put a bit too much on my nose on this occasion. I'm taking a bit of that same highlighter on a much smaller brush from Real Techniques, and I'm just using that to put the highlighter in my inner corners and below my eyebrows. I'm going to take the shade Breakup again on a Real Techniques shading brush, and I'm just going to finish off the eyes. I'm also going to use the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in the shade Yogurt. Do you have so much makeup that you forget what items you have and then purchase the product again? I don't usually purchase the same product twice, but I do purchase a lot of very, very similar products. Like, I'll be going through my collection and thinking, oh, I'd really like a rose gold single eyeshadow to throw in my makeup bag. And then I'll end up buying about 3 over the course of a couple of days, just forgetting that I've already bought one. You know, I do stuff like that all the time. I'm just using the AOA Skinny Mascara in black for my lower eyelashes. Does makeup make you happy? In a weird way, yes. Yes it does, or at least it kind of takes my mind off things that make me unhappy. I think a lot of people feel a bit more confident when they've got a bit of makeup on. Sometimes it will just ease my anxiety, because I do have anxiety about, you know, social situations and stuff like that. In some cases, like when I'm doing Instagram photos and stuff, it can give me a chance to be more creative and to express myself. So yes, in a weird way, and as bizarre as it sounds, I think makeup really does make me happy. I'm going to set everything in place using the Revolution Pro Fix spray, the same one I use all the time. I'm being very generous with this because my base is looking very matte and very powdered, and this just helps everything mesh into the skin and bring a bit of life back into my face. To finish off the look, I'm going to go in with this Primark Lipliner pencil. I have no idea what shade this is because I've had this for about a million years, and then I'm going to go over that with the Revolution lipstick in Chauffeur. I absolutely love this lipstick. Ever since I wore it in my Jaclyn Hill lipstick dupe video, I've just been reaching for it all the time. I think that's the end of the questions. All I have to do now is tag everyone else. Basically, I tag everyone who wants to film this video. So Natasha Summer, my YouTube BFF, and I know that she talks more about food and fashion on her channel, so it might not fit in, but you know, if you felt like doing a fun tag video, I tag you. Bubbly Bex, she normally films tutorials, but I'd really like to hear her answers to this question. Charlene, she's from Charlene Has a Blog. Obviously it's a blog and not a YouTube channel, but I still think she would really enjoy answering these questions too. Thank you so much for watching and for hanging out with me today, and thank you again to Shannon and Andrea for tagging me. Give this video a thumbs up if you're into chatty, longer videos where I throw some makeup on. That's everything from me today. I'll see you guys next Sunday at 9 AM. Bye!